I grew my Instagram account by over 11,000 followers. I tripled my Etsy sales, and I tripled the number of clients that I brought in for my commission business. Do you trust me now? Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. My name's Andrea, and today's video is going to be all about how I grew my business during the quarantine. So for those of you who have been following my vlogs and watching me through this journey of furloughed life, you know that I'm a mess consistently. And last night I was having one of my typical breakdowns where I just felt like I was doing so much and it just wasn't enough. My baby is sneezing. So I decided to take a look at the numbers. This exercise was to help me quantify This exercise was to help me quantify all of the hard work that I've been putting into so that I can finally feel satisfied. A lot of young entrepreneurs have this sensation of never feeling completely satisfied or fulfilled, but I think it's very important to take a moment's pause and look at the numbers and see, like, is this working? Because if you're working really hard and you're not seeing any kind of change or growth in the trajectory of your business, then you need to pivot anyway. So this is just a good gut check to see if you're doing well. And I was pleasantly surprised with the information that I found once I started doing kind of my recap. I grew my Instagram account in about 4.5 weeks by 11,000. I increased my revenue from my Etsy business by 3,000%. And I also was able to triple the amount of clientele that I was bringing in through my Instagram and my Etsy shop. And I had not done any kind of outreach at all. Every single client that I have obtained in this time period came to me. So a little context for those of you who are new, I'm an artist. I am the founder and illustrator of Coco Michele Illustrations. This has been a very aggressive side hustle up until I was furloughed.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
I have been very, very blessed during this time period, and doing this video has just been very helpful to open my eyes as to how successful I really have been in this time period, and to give myself credit and give myself a pat on the back. But you know, I'm here for the people, okay? So you know, I couldn't keep all the tea to myself. So I wanted to sit down and give you guys the formula so that you guys can hopefully take some of these tips and grow your businesses as well during this very unique time that we're all experiencing. I usually don't like sit down videos because I feel like y'all can't really get to know me because I have to be serious, and I'm not serious. So if you guys want to get to know me as a person, make sure you follow my vlogs, and I'll link those in the little card up above. So I have my trusty iPad here with all of my notes, so let's get into it. The very first part of any kind of growth mindset for me is goal setting. If I don't have direction or guidance on what I'm trying to achieve, then I'm just out here shooting in the dark, throwing spaghetti to the wall and seeing what sticks, and that has never been successful, at least for me. So it's very important for me to sit down and create a very distinct roadmap of what I want to achieve and when I want to achieve it. So you have to be very specific when you're setting goals. You cannot be vague, because vagueness allows you excuses and backdoors to break promises to yourself. So essentially, I can't say I want to grow my Instagram. Okay, that's cute. So if you come out of a 4-week time period and you gain 1 extra follower, are you satisfied with that? Or what does the number look like? You have to be specific. In these 4 weeks, I want to gain 5,000 followers. Okay, so that's a target. If you say I need to get my account bigger, it leaves it too open-ended where you can interpret it however you want depending on your mood that day. The really important thing about goal setting is you need to have the desire, you need to have the capabilities, and you need to be ready. And another important part about goal setting is you need to write it down. It can't just be sitting and floating in here. You need to tell somebody, and you need to be looking at your goals every single day. In the past, I've written a lot of things. There are notebooks floating around this apartment filled with a lot of dreams that I closed and never opened again. So what I did is I started to put everything on my iPad, and I use the app GoodNotes, and I created like a little cute planner that makes me want to use it. And every day, doesn't have to be the same time every day. I know a lot of people are really good with their morning routines. I'm not. Before I go to bed, I look at my goals. That's it. And then I make sure that everything that I'm doing is really marching towards those goals. Because one of the most difficult parts about having a side hustle or a small business is knowing what to be doing when, knowing what's important, and staying focused on the big picture of what you want to do. And make sure you're not giving yourself way too many goals that it's just impossible for you to achieve. You want to be stretching, okay? You want to reach, but you don't want to make it so that it's impossible and then you're discouraged and you just throw the whole thing away. okay? Balance. So the second tip for growing during this time is prioritization. The thing about being quarantined is you have more time. When you have more time, that's more time to think, more ideas you're generating, and it's easy to get lost in the sauce. You have all these great big juicy ideas and you want to do all of them at the same time. Well, guess what? That's just not how it works, boo-boo. If you try and do all the ideas that come across your mind at the same damn time, you are going to be out of luck. Not only will you not be able to do all of them, but the ones that you are able to do will not be done well because you're stretching yourself too thin. So you need to have priorities. What are your main objectives? So if you're looking at your goals that you've already written, because I told you that was step number 1.
They're not listening to me.
What are the steps that you need to take in order to achieve those goals? And those will be your priorities. So I would look at your goals and rank them. Are there things that are time sensitive? Are there things that are high priority because they're gonna bring in that cash? Then map out all of the steps that you need to take to achieve those goals. For example, one of my goals that I wrote in my journal was that I wanted to grow my Instagram account by 5,000 followers. As you can see, I grew 11,000, which is more than double what I expected. But here are the things that I said I needed to do. I needed to post more. So I had been posting pretty much every single day, and then when we had moved to upstate New York, I got a little lax with my posting schedule, so I wanted to get back to a single post a day, and when possible, a double post. I wanted to create more engaging content, so I wanted something that would encourage people to comment and to engage with me on my page, and I also wanted to create shareable content. I did things that I knew would be easily shareable based off of my history or watching other people, created those things, and then making sure that I was kind of pulsing those in throughout. I wanted to maintain the feel of my brand. I didn't want it to be like all of a sudden I'm a meme account or anything like, oh, shareable quotes like all the time. That wasn't what I was going for. I wanted to keep the brand authenticity of Coco Michele, but also giving it the opportunity to grow and reach a lot of people. So whenever I did these 3 things, I could see a large bump in my business. So there are things that I post on my account that are product based when I'm trying to drive sales, and there are things where I'm trying to drive growth and impressions. So I can show you a few examples of different things that I've done and what the results were. And I can do a whole video based off of Instagram growth, honestly, because it's a beast in itself. So just give this video a thumbs up if you want to see that. You really just need to stay focused if you're trying to create your side hustle into a full-time business. What are the things that are going to make you money or get you in front of more eyeballs? If it ain't doing either of those things, ditch it. And that brings me into my next point. Quarantine, when you have more time, that's more procrastination. So the next point is time management. I procrastinate with everything, literally everything. I procrastinate with this video. I took a whole nap. I watched 3 episodes of How to Get Away with Murder. I took another nap by accident. Don't know how I did that. And then the sun went down. But I love to procrastinate. I love to keep my time as open as possible so that I can do whatever the hell I want to. Except the issue is you can't get things done when you're not managing your time. That brings me back to the digital planner that I created in my iPad. I have created a monthly view of everything that I need to get done every single day. And then within the monthly view, I have weekly spreads where I'm allocating, okay, of the monthly spread, for me to get these things done, here's what I need to do every day of the week. I am not a calendar blocker because I just don't have the discipline or even the self-awareness of how long things take me to do calendar blocking. I think that calendar blocking for administrative tasks I'm pretty good at. I'm not able to say this illustration is gonna take me 3 hours. Once I put that pressure on myself, I get art block, like for real. So I have to just do the illustration, and however long it takes me is how long it takes me. But to each your own. So depending on the nature of your business, you can literally block out every single minute of your day if that's useful for you. But you need to figure out a way to manage your time that works well for you, that will keep you accountable. If you can't do that, you will lose track of time and you will start to go down this really terrible spiral. There's so many weird things about quarantine, but one of the weirdest thing about quarantine is your perception of time. I don't know about y'all, but I don't know what day of the week it is 9 out of 10 times. I don't know what time of the day it is. I'm just out here floating. You need to be able to keep a grasp of time so that you can allocate your time to get things done that you have prioritized to achieve your goals. So you see this waterfall that I'm creating for you? I'm creating like a really nice waterfall effect. Should I make a chart? Maybe I'll make a chart. So do what works for you to manage your time, sis, because you will feel so much better when you actually start accomplishing things because you gave yourself the adequate time to do so. Wow. The next point I have is strategic planning. You need to work smarter and not harder. And I know that we're in a mentality of do more, think less. To some degree, I agree with that because I think that we can talk ourselves out of things because we're worried about how people will perceive it or if we're gonna embarrass ourselves or whatever, all the dumb shit that we tell ourselves to talk ourselves out of being great. But I do think that there's a difference between analysis paralysis and actually being strategic. So for instance, you don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about whether you should or shouldn't do something. I think that a lot of people get caught up in that phase where they have an idea and they're like, should I do it? Should I not? They're hemming and hawing. They're researching. People love to get stuck in the research phase. They research themselves to death, honey, but they don't do anything. I think that's a complete and utter waste of time. But what I do think is important is that you're using the time that you have to be strategic, to take the time to actually think through what would get you the best results for the time that you're putting in. You want to make sure that the effort you're putting in is yielding the results that you want to see on the other end. So for instance, for me, I looked at April and I said, okay, April, I want this to be a big month for me on Etsy. March was really tough for everyone. That was when coronavirus was out here shanking people's jobs left and right. People were in a very weird state of mind, feeling very concerned, especially about like their employment, their income. So then we all got an unemployment and realized we richer now than we was before. So I really wanted to make April to be a big month. So I sat down and said, what are the things that I can do strategically that would make me have a much bigger month in April than I did in March? I knew that one of the benefits of April was that I could get a lot of sales if I created a collection for Mother's Day. So this is very specific to my business, but you can do whatever would fit yours. And I know that there's a lot of graduations during this time, and there's going to be an increase in greeting cards right now because people cannot physically be together. So people are going to be more inclined to buying some cards and also being more inclined to buy cards online versus going down to the dirty little grocery store where they get those generic Hallmark cards that everybody and their mother gonna give you. I'm just saying. I really took the time to focus on building a strategy around Mother's Day and graduation. I also thought it was important for me to create some buzz around my commission work. Commissions are a very profitable part of my business. People ask me to create logos, people ask me to create illustrations for books, and it's a lot easier to have that consistent stream of income when you have clients coming in versus hoping someone buys things from your Etsy store. So I took those two streams of revenue and said these need to equal about $4,500 this month for me to feel like I am in a good place. So I put those plans into motion and I had strategies that were prioritized, that aligned with my goal, and were blocked in my calendar. And what happened? I tripled my sales in both Etsy and my commissions. I had a goal of $4,500 for the combined of my two revenue streams, and I came in at $6,500, which is really excellent because that means I'm on track for hitting my $10,000 month. And there's something about, you know, the entrepreneurs about that 10K month, so I'm well on my way of achieving that. And I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't have a strategy on how I wanted to achieve all of this. And my last tip is really probably the most important tip, and that is execution. It all comes down to how you execute it. I can have all of the strategies, all of the goals, all the priorities, and all of the time blocked out. If I cannot come through, if I cannot execute, if I cannot show up the way that I want to show up, then it doesn't matter. So this is really important for a little bit of honesty with yourself to assess your abilities, assess your goals, and figure out how you're going to be able to execute it to a level that you want. I'm a goofball, I'm silly, I'm ridiculous, but I take Coco Michele very seriously. And I want everyone to have that same consistent, pleasant experience when they buy something from my shop. I want them to be excited when it comes in the mail. And the last thing I want to hear is that they ordered something for Mother's Day 3 weeks ago and it never came in the mail. Like, that's heartbreaking. But those are the things that you can't control. So you can't worry about execution in terms of how things go once they leave your hands. What you need to really focus on in execution is, what is the end product? Does it meet the expectations of yourself or of your customers? Do you have backup plans for in case things go wrong? How are you getting your product in front of people? How are you going to get that product into people's hands? And that is where it all comes down to. So all of the other steps are really preparing you for you to be able to flawlessly execute something really special to achieve your goals. So You don't want to just be throwing things out there. You don't want to be doing things half-assed. It's just so you can check off the box, because guess what? You're going to be in for a rude awakening. People are very savvy, so you have to give your customers a lot of credit. They are going to know, they're going to see right through you if there's anything going on in terms of how things are executed. If the quality is not there, they're going to see right through that. And the few customers that you do have, once they receive that product, they're not going to be happy, and you're not going to be able to get that customer back. And even worse is that they are likely to leave a negative review, because when someone has a negative experience, especially if it has to do with the quality or the customer service, they are very inclined to leave a review because they want to warn people, because they feel like they got slighted and they wasted their money on a product that they were not satisfied with. So they want to make sure nobody else does that, while also, you know, throwing a little shade to the owner of the business. So you have to really protect your brand by making sure that you're providing and executing the quality that a customer is expecting, especially if you're charging a premium price. So those are the different things that I did to grow my business. I'm really excited and I'm really happy that I sat down to do this, because if you have a business or you're thinking about having a business, you know that it comes with tremendous doubt. You are self-doubting yourself every step of the way. You're hesitating, you have no confidence, and you literally just don't know what to do next. So it's important that you are just being really transparent with yourself and taking it easy on yourself, because you're doing the best you can. You're doing the best you can. And if you're not doing the best you can fix it. And you can say, these are the things that I'm doing that are self-sabotaging me, and here are the things that I need to do, correct it, and then make that commitment to yourself. But it's important that you do a gut check every once in a while, because you're doing the best that you can 9 out of 10 times. And you have to be able to recognize that, because if you burn yourself out, there will be no business. So be kind to yourselves. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please check out some of my other ones, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.